Namaskar, good afternoon, and welcome to this special briefing on the visit of the President of South Africa to India from 25th and 26th January 2019. The President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, is the chief guest for the Republic Day this year. To do the briefing on the visit, I have with me on stage Secretary Economic Relations, Sri T.S. Tirumurthy, our High Commissioner to South Africa, Ruchira Kambojji, and Joint Secretary East and South Africa, Dr. Nina Malhotra. Sir, the floor is yours.
Friends, thank you very much for coming here. President of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, will be on a state visit to India on 25th, 26th January 2019. He is the chief guest of our 70th Republic Day parade. This is the second time when a South African president will be our chief guest for the Republic Day. The legendary leader Nelson Mandela was the chief guest of our Republic Day in 1995. This is the first visit of President Ramaphosa to India after he assumed office in South Africa in February 2018. Prime Minister and President of South Africa have met on 3 occasions last year. In the margins of CHOGM in London in April 2018, for the BRICS meeting in July 2018 in Johannesburg, and later in G20 in Buenos Aires. It will be recalled that during the visit of Prime Minister to South Africa in July 2016, His Excellency Ramaphosa had called on Prime Minister as the then Deputy President of South Africa. As regards the program for the visit, President Ramaphosa will be accompanied by the First Lady and 9 senior ministers of his cabinet, in addition to senior officials and a large 50-member business delegation. President Ramaphosa will arrive in New Delhi on Friday, 25th of January 2019. He will be given a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. He will visit Rajghat to pay respect to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Prime Minister Modi will hold delegation-level talks with President Ramaphosa and his delegation at Hyderabad House. Their discussions are expected to cover a wide range of areas of bilateral, regional, and global issues of mutual interest. Prime Minister will host a lunch in honor of the visiting dignitary in Hyderabad House. In the afternoon of 25th January, President Ramaphosa will deliver the Gandhi Mandela Freedom Lecture, organized by the Indian Council of World Affairs under the IPSA framework as a part of the celebration of the 15th anniversary of IPSA. You will recall that South Africa had last year celebrated the 100th birth anniversary of Nelson Mandela, and India is celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. President of South Africa and Prime Minister will address the India-South Africa Business Forum in the afternoon of 25th January. Later that evening, Honorable Rashtrapati Ji will be hosting a banquet in honor of the visiting dignitary and his delegation at Rashtrapati Bhavan. On 26th January, President of South Africa will attend our 70th Republic Day celebrations as a chief guest. He will also join at-home reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan and will depart later in the evening for South Africa on 26th January. The visit of South African President is preceded by joint working groups meeting on agriculture, trade and investment, and mines. Friends, this visit is significant both from the point of view of our strategic partnership with South Africa and in the overall context of our enhanced engagement with Africa itself. In the overall context, our relations with Africa are at an all-time high. We have, over the last more than 4 years, had an unprecedented 29 visits at the level of President, Vice President, and Prime Minister to African countries. We have had numerous incoming visits as well at the head of state and the heads of government level from Africa to India, including during IAFS 3 in 2015 and the founding conference of the International Solar Alliance last year. Our overall relations with Africa in defense and security, economic, trade and investment relations, development partnership, and capacity building, etc., are at an all-time high. It is in this context that Prime Minister set out the 10 guiding principles for our relations with Africa last year, the thrust of which is to unlock Africa's potential through our enhanced engagement. India's links with the struggle for freedom and justice in South Africa date back to the period of Mahatma Gandhi, when he started his Satyagraha movement in South Africa over a century ago. Considering that we have just concluded a historic Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Varanasi, as well as celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi this year, this visit of the President of South Africa has a special resonance. India and South Africa had established a strategic partnership in March 1997 during the state visit of President Nelson Mandela to India. Over the last few years, there has been a significant intensification of our engagement in various fields, and the relationship has gathered momentum. Prime Minister's bilateral visit to South Africa in 2016 infused a new momentum to our relations and strengthened this strategic partnership. He had visited South Africa again in 2018 for the BRICS summit. EAM also had a very successful visit to South Africa in June 2018. During this visit, we hope to agree on a roadmap for taking this strategic partnership forward. Defense and security cooperation will continue to be an area of close bilateral cooperation. South African defense industries are looking at our Make in India initiative with renewed interest. India and South Africa have a strong interest in maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. India has also extended training slots for South African defense personnel. We share common concerns in the area of terrorism, FATF, cybersecurity, etc. India and South Africa's economic and investment relations have also been very robust. President Ramaphosa, as I mentioned earlier, is leading a large 50-member business delegation to India. South Africa is also keen to attract investments and have set a target of US dollars 100 billion over the next 3 years or so. Nearly 150 Indian companies are present in South Africa, which includes some of the prominent companies and business entities of India. They have invested around US dollars 9 to 10 billion and created around 20,000 jobs locally. Trade between India and South Africa has also increased to US dollars 10.7 billion in 2017-18, which is an increase of about 13% over the previous year. South Africa was also a partner country in Vibrant Gujarat 2019, where we also had for the first time an Africa Day. There is therefore considerable keenness on both sides to take our economic and investment relationship forward. We are also looking at the simplification of the visa regime in South Africa, and we are currently in discussion with South Africa on this. Capacity building continues to be an important aspect of our engagement with South Africa. During Prime Minister's visit in 2018, we had signed an MOU for setting up the Gandhi Mandela Skills Institute, and we expect this institute to come up by April-May 2019. India continues its cooperation under ITEC and its scholarship programs. As you are aware, External Affairs Minister recently launched the E-Vidya Bharati and E-Arogya Bharati initiative, which is a tele-education and a tele-health initiative covering all of Africa. This will cover South Africa as well, and we are hoping that this initiative will enhance our cooperation in these two important sectors. The Indian diaspora in South Africa form a living bridge between the two countries. The 1.5 million PIOs in South Africa constitute 2.5% or more of South Africa's total population. We are pleased that during the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas celebrations, two prominent South Africans, namely Professor Anil Suklal and Swami Sarada Prabhananda were conferred the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards. Friends, India and South Africa continue to work very closely in the multilateral fora, particularly in BRICS, G20, Commonwealth, IPSA, IORA, etc., in addition to the UN and the UN Security Council, where they have just become members. We appreciate the support which South Africa has given to our candidatures in international organizations. You will recall that they had also held a very successful BRICS summit in Johannesburg last year. We are confident that the state visit of South African President will provide an opportunity to re-energize a mutually beneficial strategic partnership in a focused manner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have time to take a few questions. Siddhant.
Hi, sir. I'm Siddhant from Beyond. My question is on the Indian Ocean. The IOIR, which is the organization which is being led right now by South Africa, which is the chair. How much is the focus on this Indian Ocean, the Indo-Pacific concept, which India has been talking about?
See, we have been cooperating very closely on the Indian Ocean rim. As far as Africa is concerned, which is what your focus of the question would be, we have actually defense cooperation agreements with practically every littoral state of Africa in the Indian Ocean. And that is primarily to ensure that we work with Africa, we work with African countries in the field of maritime security. And this is precisely what we are also doing with South Africa to ensure maritime security in this area. And that is how we see it, the whole concept of IORA, which is what you're referring to.
Smita.
Can you just give us a sense of any agreements that we are looking at, broad frameworks at least, without elaborating on the specifics?
There is one very significant agreement which we will be concluding. This is going to be a roadmap, which I was mentioning, for our strategic partnership. And it will be a program of action over 3 years for our strategic partnership. And this will be significant in the sense that it will capture all the areas where we feel that we should take it forward in a time-bound manner. And that, I think, will be the main one which we will be concluding with South Africa during this visit.
I'll take 2 to 3 questions at a time. Parul and then Ashokji.
You spoke about some areas where you hope to implement things in a time-bound manner. Which are these areas that you're looking at? Is it defense? One of them?
I want to know any efforts will be done in talks with South Africa how to energize IPSA.
I'll just take these 2 questions first. The program of action which we are looking at will cover practically every field. It will include defense and security. It will include our political relations. It will include economic and trade and investment cooperation. It will, for example, include the blue economy, the oceans economy as we call it. Tourism will be an important aspect. Science and technology will be important. For example, not many people know really that India and South Africa have completed as many as 74 projects in science and technology over the years. And these are all in pure sciences like earth sciences, material sciences, chemical sciences, even in astronomy, for example. And there have been more than 300 exchanges between our 2 countries on science and technology. And we are already working together on certain aspects. So we're hoping that some of the, and IT is another area, and agriculture would be another area. We are having the JWG as we speak. So these are all the aspects which you hope to capture in the strategic partnership program and give it a certain roadmap and a time-bound roadmap. So that, I suppose, is for your question. And as far as IPSA is concerned, there is definitely a very focused move to energize IPSA. And that is why last year our EAM had in fact been to South Africa, and she held the IPSA Foreign Ministers meeting. And therefore, since it is the 15th anniversary of IPSA, what we have decided is that we will have 15 events during this year in all the 3 countries. And one of the events is going to be the Gandhi Mandela Freedom Lecture. And we are soon going to have IPSA-related activities. So there is definitely going to be a focus on energizing IPSA. That I can assure you.
Venkatji?
Thiru, the ban or the blacklisting of Denel was removed in September last year, and there have been reports in the media that there are going to be several agreements whereby Denel will, enter into partnerships with several Indian public and private enterprises, and a huge delegation consulting is coming from there. Will any agreements for cooperation, collaboration between Denel and Indian entities be taking place? Could you throw some light on that? Thanks.
I'll take one more question. Suhasini?
Just to follow up on Smita's question, we're just a day away from the meeting. So if you could share in what areas those MOUs are going to be. Are there going to be exchanges, academic issues, trade issues? What are the 2 prime ministers going to sign agreements on, if any?
No. In fact, I'll address that question first. Just to tell you that, see, we have MOUs in practically every area with South Africa. Now, what we feel now is that we have this strategic partnership. But we wanted each of these areas to be taken up with a specific set of things we can do together. So that is what we have focused on. Because, for example, even when he went for the BRICS meeting, if you recall, we even had, of course, the MOU on the Skills Institute, but Prime Minister also witnessed the signing of an MOU on peaceful use of outer space between ISRO and their institutions. We have defense agreements, we have science and technology agreements signed years ago. So what we really needed was a roadmap, because in some areas we felt that we could definitely move faster, and we also have, a huge opportunity in the next 2 or 3 years to take this forward. So that it is going to be a 3-year type of program, and each of these aspects we are going to have specific action plans. That is why it is going to be one important agreement where we have tried to put all these thoughts together and have a comprehensive one. That's why I feel that it is going to be a pretty important type of document, which will be a catch-all document. So that is to your question. And as far as Denel is concerned, let me just say that defense cooperation has always been a very important aspect of our cooperation with South Africa. We have had agreement, as you know, in 1996 and later in 2000 and later as well. Now, why I'm mentioning this is that, yes, there had been this problem of Denel, and I'm happy that this issue has been settled last year. And we are hopeful that Denel and other defense manufacturers. See, we should also remember that Denel, of course, is a state manufacturer, but there are also private defense companies there with whom we are already doing business for some time. It is not that it stopped. So therefore, we are hoping that Denel and others would participate in our Make in India initiative. And in this context, we are in discussion with them on a couple of options which we have, it's already come out, and we are discussing with them. During the visit, I don't anticipate any agreements to be signed. But I can assure you this will continue to remain an area of great interest for both our countries, the matter of defense and security cooperation.
Any other question on any aspect of the visit? I don't see any other hand. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Dr. Nina.